Hey, you guys, I got up and I have this TV on, so it's Jay Sekulow, the ACJC, I don't know, ACLG, America, AL something. Okay, they've been on here for years. That now his sons are doing this. So they're just American law and justice for the Christians. Wow. This is crazy times, you guys. Uh, I did that video the other night on, what was it? I'm basically saying how Trump is setting up peace and safety for the Antichrist. That's basically what's going on here. And this insanity up here where they don't even know the Declaration of Independence. I guess you learn that stuff in civics class, which when I was in college back in 80s, late 80s, I had to take that and I hated it. So like I've said, I hated politics. I hated all of that stuff. But it was a different time then. It's not like I was a godless, hated God. I just didn't know. I didn't care to know about our history. Okay, so they are playing a clip of a lady on CN something, how she is confused about this. We're endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights, okay? And she doesn't understand that that's from the Bible, and they're starting to throw this catchphrase out, Christian nationalists. And I guess it's from that talk that, TBN, the president had TBN put on a national event for the weekend, dedicating America back to God. And so I forget his name, but he made a speech and he's in the White House, and meaning he's a delegate or whatever you want to call him, and he made a speech, and so they're critiquing it on this mainstream news, and they just don't understand that God is above the government. They think it's the other way around. They think the government is above God, and then he's playing clips saying, and then so she's saying stuff like, well, they're doing this Christian nationalist stuff, which means that they're saying their God is the one that runs this country when it excludes all the other religions. And that could mean that. And then he played a clip of the guy that ran with Hillary, and he's trying to twist it around like, well, if our Constitution and our whatever else it is by God, then that's what the Shias, Muslims do. Their religion runs their government, and that's not how America does it. Our government is founded upon God. And they don't want to admit that. They don't want, I don't know. I think some of these things, they are the fringe that have the microphone. And they're trying to make people believe. But still, you guys, this is the end. Because the Bible talks a lot about trumpets. The last Trump, the second Trump, the first Trump, third Trump, all kinds of Trumps. Trumps. They use the word Trump and trumpet. Okay, so You can't miss that. You can try to ignore it, but if you're a Christian, you usually are looking out for that still small voice. And God's still small voice also uses pictures. He spoke in parables. Come on. You know he's going to give signs. He's going to give little winks. He's going to give angels. He's going to give words out of somebody else's mouth. He's going to have a piece of paper with something on the ground that you happen to run into. I mean, he's always talking. And all of this mess, garbage, has been going on behind the scenes, as we have figured out. You know, that Southern law thing, all these funneling of money, all these groups and money laundering shit things that are supposed to be protecting, but instead they're paying to spread lies and propaganda and communist stuff and all kinds. That's been going along behind the scenes. But because Trump got in again, which they voted for him secretly, I'm sure they did. Most of the dumb-headed, deaf and blind Democrats, they got scared of Biden and they secretly voted for Trump. And Charlie Kirk helped, and everybody else. I'm not saying that he won because the Democrats, I'm not saying that, but I am saying a lot of them secretly. So a lot of the Democrats are so sheeple that they are going to listen to this kind of propaganda, but in their heart of hearts, they don't really want it and they don't really like it, but they're politically correct and they don't want to step on any toes and they don't want to this and that, so they will go along. That's why they'll secretly vote for Trump. And then when he's in office, they will talk bad about him, but they don't have a microphone. It's the fringe, the small, they have a microphone, and they're having the Democrats hear it, and they know that what they're saying, not all of it is crazy, so they know that those dumb Democrat sheeple are going to accept some of it, and some of it, and some of it here, and some of it there, and a little bit here, and a little bit there, to where when election time comes, those little things that are irrelevant, sure, the big, ugly, nasty, demonic, sick, evil, wicked, pure mess stuff, the normal Democrats will go, I don't like that, but I'm going to overlook that because they only say a few of those psycho things. The majority of what they're saying is kind of like what I like. But, so the ones with the microphone are being kind of careful. They don't want to, say too many things off the cliff, because they are losing a bunch of Democrats and again some more. And they probably even figured out that they all secretly voted against the Democrats and voted for Trump. So I'm just saying this was always behind the scenes, always. And they might be secretly watching some Republican channels. That'd be great, because they'd find out more lies. They would find out more about the laundering, more about the theft and the fraud. I'm sure the fraud is, I don't know. Hopefully that's common knowledge. But I'm just wanting to point this out, that all this didn't just happen this year when Trump became president. No, we all see that it's been going on for years. Okay? And because Trump is in, they're freaking out again, like when he first was in. He brings out the demons because God is on him. God wants him in. And if you hate the Jews and you hate Israel and you hate Zion, you hate God. And if you hate Trump, you hate God. Okay? So that's what's manifesting. Whenever Trump is around, the demons go crazy. Okay? And I'm not saying, oh, he's Mr. Holy Roller. And he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. All he has to be is the man that God put in office. And that's what God did. Because it is too insane for a millionaire, billionaire businessman to be running America. That in itself is insane. It should tell you that God did it. God pushed him. God told him. God knew already. He had the gumption and the mentality. He made Trump want to go the extra mile and say, look, I'm going to run and do something about it. He already had all of his opinions. A lot of good men, good businessmen, good whatever kind of men have good opinions and have good reasoning, but they don't want to run for president. So Trump did, because God wanted that businessman. God wanted that person, plus his name is Trump. Anyway, Trump is just one of a kind anyway. He's got it both. He's got the money and he has the mouth, okay? Which is what you need. Okay, you know what he is? He's in a nest of vipers. I woke up this morning thinking this. I am praying hard for him. He literally is in the hornet's nest. He's in a nest of snakes. What was I saying before this? So when you're dealing with snakes, you don't talk nice. You know, look, he's a businessman. I know he had that show, You're Fired or something, but he was always a businessman, and you don't get ugly as a businessman. You're cordial, you're civil until it gets down to the nitty-gritty, and it's either your life or theirs. It's either your money or theirs. It's either good or evil. Is it going to be you overtaken by evil, or is it going to be them that are going to die? If it is your life on the line or their life on the line, and they are the demon, I'm killing the demon. Okay? If it's between them and me, it's them that's going to go. I'm not going to be politically correct to demons. And that is why God wanted Trump in there. Because God already knew that Trump knew how evil, wicked, and demonic the people were running this country. He's not a young man. He's known it for a long time. And he already knew that if you're in business, they're treating America like a business. And they're robbing her and raping her and trying to kill her. And Trump is a businessman. He's like, you know what? America isn't a business. America is our home. And it is a home under God. And I'll be over my dead body. You fucking demon are going to do that to my home. And my Jews That's why they hate the Jews, because they brought God to the world and they can't stand it. They want God dead. That's why they hate the Jews. They want Israel gone. They want the Jews gone because they are God. Just like Trump. God put Trump in there. They can't stand God. So I woke up this morning for some reason thinking about this Middle East thing, not even really related to my other video about him setting things up for peace and safety with the Antichrist, because see, Trump is probably going to get all this halfway squared away as good as it can get, right? It can't be perfect because Reza is going to have some work to do when he gets in there. And then Trump's got other stuff he's got to do, like take care of Cuba, probably Mexico, Greenland, or whatever all else. And Reza is not going to be able to fix Iran immediately, but when the rapture happens, that means the trib starts. That means it's on. Antichrist is now in view. But he doesn't know yet, and nobody else knows yet that he's the Antichrist. So he's going to gradually rise, kind of like the little horn in Daniel that grows. Okay, and then he gets rid of 3, and then there's 7 left and all this. Okay, so the Antichrist is going to slowly grow in popularity, and he's going to be either a Jew from the northern tribe. When the rapture happens, God is probably going to call in from the 4 corners of the earth, I guess. He's already done it. God's word can be twofold sometimes. Like I was talking about Genesis that night about the woman in travail. Well, God has gathered them in from the 4 corners of the earth, but they're not all gathered in yet, because there's prophecies in the Bible yet still to be fulfilled that says they're all going to be gathered in, like Joel, the book of Joel. He's going to gather them all. There's 144,000 that haven't been marked yet and haven't been brought in. So as soon as that trumpet sounds and that rapture happens, the Antichrist, the trib is on. And there's going to be 144,000 Jews marked. They're virgins. They are cleansed. They are, the Bible, the verse says how they are renewed. I don't know, maybe God zaps them and now they're perfect and they're virgins or something, but maybe they already are anyway. But there's probably more from the north tribe that the north tribe is called Israel. The southern tribe is called Benjamin. It's called Judah. That's what Israel is right now today. That little thing is basically Judah. All of northern tribe of Israel, that's Canaan. That's Gaza. That's Lebanon, Syria, parts of Lebanon, parts of Jordan, all of Gaza, all the way up to, it tells you in the Bible where their land is, like the from the Nile to the Red Sea to the something and a something. Okay, so they're going to have all that land back, and they need 144,000 Jews from the northern tribe marked by God. Now there's going to be more than the 144,000 are marked. There's going to be more from the northern tribe that come in that won't be marked, but they're still coming home, right? Because God's going to bring them all. Above and beyond the 144,000 northern tribe, 10 tribes of Israel. They got scattered Syrians. Okay, so where was I going with this? The Antichrist is going to be a Jew, or somebody pointed out, sometimes they'll say out of, I don't know what book in the Bible, but one of those prophets in the Bible talk about the Antichrist being Assyrian, but they don't really say he's the Antichrist, but they're talking in language like he might be the Antichrist, and they're intimating that he is Assyrian. Now, Assyria and Syria are two different territories. They sound very similar, but they're two different territories. When you are translating it out of the Old Testament, which is what you should be translating it out of, the Bible. When you translate it in today's language, there really is no Assyria anymore. But the ancient land of Assyria, okay, that's a land, I don't know, you can Google it, the Bible land of Assyria. What is it today? Okay, then there is Syria. We still see the word Syria on the map, but it's really not the same Syria as it was in the Bible. I think it's a little bit different. So when these Jews come back, one of them is going to be the Antichrist. And even, what was I saying about Assyria? Oh, if he's a Syrian or if he's a Jew, I don't know, but I think he's going to be a Jew. So what will happen is he's going to be from the Middle East, because everyone's going to love him over there as he's rising. And before he gets shot in the head, after he's going to be rising for 3.5 years. As soon as the rapture, the trib happens, and he's going to start coming to power. He's going to be a very humble type, grassroots kind of guy that isn't rich or famous. And kind of like Jesus, where he says there was no comeliness and he wasn't much to look at and all that. Yeah, the Antichrist is always trying to copycat Jesus. So yes, the Antichrist, I don't know where it is or what verse, but it says he's just going to be kind of obscure, like a nobody, but he rises. And a guy from the Middle East, whether he's a Jew or he's an Assyrian, a bad Jew, we'll say he's a bad Jew because he's obviously a bad Jew. And he has to be a Jew in order for the Jews to accept him as a false Messiah. So, I mean, they're going to figure it out. That's going to be before the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is after the first 3.5 years. You take the mark of the beast in the last 3.5 years of the 7 years. The 7 years are split in half. So he's going to make everyone take the mark of the beast at the very end. Well, in the middle of the 7 years, when the first 3.5 years are over, that's when the abomination of desolation is going to happen. The Jews are going to know, run for the hills, because they're going to now know he is not the Messiah. He just got shot in the head, he died, and he rose back to life, and he went into the temple, and he said he's God. And that's when the Jews are like, what the fuck? Let's get out of here. Okay, so they're never going to have to take the mark. So, but before that abomination of desolation, when the second 3.5 years begins, when that starts it off, this guy, the Antichrist, and by the way, when he gets shot and killed, it is Satan himself that starts coming inside of him and makes him come back to life. Then when he's back to life, he is possessed 1,000%. And he is full-blown Satan, okay? Before that, he didn't really know. He doesn't think he's evil. He's not trying to be evil. He's just being a human being that's trying to be, but he's got a bad heart. He is got woke agenda, all that bullshit. And as soon as he gets shot, I don't know who's going to shoot him, but he's going to die of a deadly wound, and he's literally going to be dead. Human-wise, biologically dead, but Satan is going to enter him and make him come to life. And that's when he will be a different person, because he will now be Satan in a body, okay? Because God wrote it this way. God said he can do it. So, wish this snotty cough would go away. But anyway, when that happens, he's going to have Satan, then he's going to go into the temple, whether it's a tent or what, and he's going to say, hey, I'm God, look, I'm God, I came back to life. He literally is going to have Satan inside of him, so who knows what else he'll say about himself, but he's going to do some really heretical things in that temple, and the Jews are going to say, hell no, and they're going to run for the hills. I don't know if they're doing Ezekiel 38 and 39, which lasts 7 years. They're going to be burying bodies for 7.5 years. Or, 7 years. But the burning, no wait, I don't remember, but whatever. They're going to do something for 7 months, and then there's going to do something else for 7 years. So if Ezekiel 38 does happen while it's the trib, or maybe it got started before the trib, like before the rapture, whatever the case is, in that 7 years while they're cleaning up, when that abomination of desolation happens after 3.5 years, they're going to run for the hills, and parts of the Bible say they're going to run to Jerusalem. But yet parts of the Bible say Jerusalem is going to be. So I don't know how to piece these together, but if I knew how, I would. And I sometimes can do some of it, like I've shared before, the little bit. But there's the book of Joel, too. Joel chapter 2, and I guess 3 that I just shared. And it probably goes back and forth. It digresses, and then it'll come back to the topic, and then it'll digress, kind of like Genesis does, kind of like God does in his parables and everything. So Joel chapter 2 is, I think, if I can remember what I was reading, it's probably a combination of the very end of the trib, which is Armageddon, the big war of Armageddon between Antichrist and whoever else. And it's probably a combination of that, and because there's an outpouring of the Holy Spirit upon all flesh. So that part of Joel 2 is probably going to happen to the Jews in the trib. Because why do they need the Holy Spirit falling on all flesh on the Jews when the trib is over? So, like I said, there's a lot of end time verses that you have to piece together correctly, because there's a lot of verses that talk about the sun being darkened and the moon not giving its light and the stars falling from the sky. That's at the very, very end. But God will backtrack back and forth. He'll start talking about one thing, then he'll talk about something else. Then he goes back to the end, then he'll go talk about, just like in Genesis. He talks about on the 6th day he created man. Then in chapter 2, he starts talking about how he created man, and then he'll bump even around back and forth in when he created man. So when you're reading these things and he's jumping back and forth, you have to put all the ones together that match. So when he says the sun and moon are going to darken and the stars are falling, that's at the very end. But yet in the same chapter, he's talking about the outpouring of the Holy Spirit upon all flesh. That's not at the end. So he's bumping around, okay? This outpouring on all flesh. And then there's other verses that talk about the Gentiles are going to be running to Jerusalem. So I'm just telling you, if you know the bare basics, and that is, the bare basics are the first 3.5 years of the trib are going to be peaceful because a Jew came up from the ranks, became popular, and guess what? All of Iran's problems, all the Christians in Iran will be gone. Reza will be gone. All the Christians will be gone. And all that'll be left in Iran are the bad guys, I guess, but not horrible bad, because they'll be under control, because Reza and his CIA are going to be working to get him out. But I'm just saying, you guys, you got to look at the picture here. God is cleaning this all up to prepare for the Antichrist to bring peace to the world, a false peace to the Middle East, which brings peace all over the world, because you got China, Russia, North Korea, and all these others that are all in on this. Okay, there's he's going to be somebody that they all love, and they're all going to just be like, oh sure, we all are buddies now. All of us countries are getting along, and we love each other, and we're all fine with this. Okay, what else? So yes, I think this is what God is doing and saying, because, yeah, not only did I wake up this morning thinking of, that how Trump is in you really got to pray for him, because he is it's like he is dealing with a bunch of snakes, you guys. They are all after America. And he's the only one, him and Israel, he and Israel, that are fighting for good. Israel is fighting off the devil himself, because everybody who hates Israel and the Jews hate God. And then now America, look at us, we're Christians, and they don't even know where our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence came from. Okay? This is an agenda that's been going on behind the scenes, and now it's manifesting. And, I bunny trailed. So they're not going in. Oh, because Trump. Okay, so, and then God showed me a video today, and I think I posted it, or I put it underneath my video in the comments. And she is talking about how these Middle East countries are funding our schools, which we already knew that. And before we were all talking about that, we always knew how China was trying to do it to our schools and getting in the back door of our electronics and our military and stealing all our stuff. Okay, well, see, also the Middle East is doing it too. And the Middle East also wants Gaza to have their own, but yet they won't allow Gazans or Lebanese terrorists in their own countries. But I don't know if they truly, see, they may say that they want a two-state solution because it's for their safety, because they want those terrorists off their back. Yet they'll do it at the expense of Jew blood of the Jews. That's what's sick to me. They're going to pay for that. Unless they say, look, I'm sorry, what we've been doing all these years at the UN and the EU and all this, and totally blackballing Israel at every turn and every request, we're sorry about that. And it's because of us being afraid of the terrorists that we never stuck up for Israel. They got a lot of Jew blood on their hands. And they still are fighting for those Palestinians that aren't even Palestinians, that don't even want a state. So they're evil, and Trump has to work with them, and he's working with them, and he has to, like when you saw the videos of the few of him with Xi Jinping or whatever his name in China, Trump never had a smile on his face. Maybe one picture he did. Trump was there going, I know what's going on. I know what you're doing. When he's in the Middle East, I know he likes the guy in Saudi Arabia, and I know the guy in Saudi Arabia is nice. But they give a lot of money to America, and more than Israel, or whatever they're bitching about Israel, because I shared a video on my post. But I'm just saying, Trump does like them, and they are good people. But Lebanon, their secular government, still doesn't like the Jews, and they still want a Palestinian state. And Qatar, and I don't know if Saudi Arabia is giving money to our schools to try to twist the minds, but I know Qatar is. And that means that, like the Democrats, some of those Middle Eastern countries are trying to, and like China, they're trying to make America communistic. They do nothing but support Muslim Islam and tearing up the minds of the college students, whoever they are, that's funding our schools like that. I don't know which ones they are for sure, but I think it's Qatar, number one. I know Saudi Arabia gives us a lot of money, but I don't know if it's the money to twist up the colleges like Qatar is doing. And Turkey, I don't think Turkey would ever sign I don't know, Turkey hates us, but I'm telling you one thing. The Antichrist is going to get all those people to get along and love and do a big peace treaty. Trump is going to, if nothing else, he's going to get he's going to cripple the head of the snake. Okay? He's going to cripple him. And as far as all the rest of this peace in the Middle East, it's going to be a limping kind of peace, meaning it's going to be doable, but it's not going to be full peace. There's still going to probably be Turkey, probably won't sign, or whoever other else is over there, maybe Qatar. But they'll be their own selves, separate, like they've always been and like they are now. But, and the head of the snake will be crippled, but there's still cells in bed with the Democrats over here who don't think God is running our government, which our government is founded upon God, and they're twisting the narrative. They're in bed with the Muslims. Oh, you can't have God, the one true God, but we don't mind Sharia law and communism and Marxism and socialism. You guys, this is so embedded and so gross and disgusting, evil, wicked. And I know Trump is going to, God wants this Iran thing squashed. So God is going to get this Iranian thing for the most part. But there's going to be loose ends that Reza will have to clean up. And America can get back to normal and their playpen and whatever they're doing. But I think that also will be a test. Are the Christians going to go back to the playpen and oh, me? Or are they really going to stay repentant? Because the rapture will be happening and God is already separating the wheat from the tares. Like Candace, this disgusting witch. She is a freaking witch. I don't know what channel it was, but she and this blonde girl from the Young Turks, their model for that video or for that channel, they're talking. And you guys, it's so twisted and sick how they're twisting it on us like we're the wicked people. Like, oh yeah, genocide if you hate Jews, and if you, they totally breeze over the part that we're not the ones being attacked like Israel is. If we were attacked by Gaza, oh, do you think they'd be saying free Palestine, free Palestine? No. Why do they think the Jews should be saying, free Palestine? Of course they're going to kill babies and mothers, and they're all demons. I've said that, and I'll say it over and over 1,000 times all day long, 24/7. They're all from the bottom up, demonically possessed per God. Okay? Even I ran across something, but it's in the other Bible I took to the bedroom. But this, Joel chapter 2, whatever it says, something in there. Oh no, it's Ezekiel 38 and 39. They're going to bury him. It's called the Valley of Haman. Gog. Okay, Haman, the Agagite, the Amalekite. So there's no more Amalekites, but if you look that up, because that prophecy in Joel 2 hasn't happened yet. So why are they saying Amalekites when they don't exist? And yet it's a future prophecy that has to happen. But yet, how can it be Amalekites when Amalekites don't exist anymore? It's because it is a term, just like when they use the giants, the men of old. They don't exist anymore. But it's just a term, okay? Like God says Sodom and Gomorrah all the time when it's already passed. But it's a future prophecy again. So the Amalekites, when you look up that Valley of Haman, Gog, the Agagite, the Amalekite, that's going to happen again, but there's no Amalekites. What that means is it's the spirit of Amalekite, the spirit of Amalekite from the Amalekites, those people that are extinct now. And it stands for whoever is murderous intent like the Amalekites, which are the Muslim Islamists. That's who the Amalekites are in Ezekiel 38. Those are the ones that are going to be buried in the valley of Haman, Gog, because they are Gog and Magog, because they're after the Jews to annihilate them and genocide them, and just like Haman did in Esther. And they are after them with a vengeance, and that prophecy hasn't happened yet. So I'm just saying, the Middle East, the money they funnel in here. And then I hear stuff like they don't even send their own kids to American colleges because they don't want their own kids corrupted by, I guess, Qatar, But I heard that a long time ago, so I don't remember what Middle Eastern countries don't like our corrupted socialist colleges that one of these other Middle Eastern countries turned our colleges into. So we got the socialists and the Democrats and the leftists and the wokes and the Islam, and they all hate Christianity. They're all anti-Christ, okay? Now, they're rising up. I don't care how fringe they are. They got the microphone. And no matter who might win, if the rapture doesn't happen, if we get another good president, that spirit with the microphone, they're not going to just go hide in a hole somewhere, I don't think. Because, first of all, unless they're all prosecuted and put in prison for all the crimes and the money they stole and stuff and the agendas and the clubs with those clubs where they put the money in and it really goes for terrorism and lying. And I posted another video where they were spreading propaganda about Israel in the colleges. I mean, this is so evil now. I really think God is through. He's like, okay, it's at the crescendo of evil. It's time to get going with all this. He's already, I've noticed anyway, he has unleashed Satan to let him have his way. That's why we see all the crazy, because God isn't holding him back anymore. God wants Satan to destroy and destroy and destroy. And near the end here. Okay, so I was saying how if we get another president, a good one, and God gives us some more time and the Christians won, hooray, hoorah. God is only using that time to test those Christians, which he already knows if they're lazy or not. But he's going to test to see, are they going to go back to the playpen and the bottle and the pacifier, and they don't want meat, they don't want to grow up, they don't want to learn the Bible, they don't want to live by faith. They want to, okay, I saw this commercial. I love TBN, and I know they need money and commercials, but this is over the top. I wrote it down. Okay, they have, first time I've seen this commercial. Almased, Almased. It's some kind of weight loss juice. And oh my gosh, it's supposed to be okay, this is an example. This is an example right here. This is an example of watered down Christianity where you're trying to entice the world that, hey, we're not so bad. God isn't so bad. Jesus isn't. See, look, we can adapt to look like you. No, it's not supposed to be that way. We are not supposed to look like the world to attract the world to our Jesus. And I'm not saying this is even a Christian commercial. I don't even think it is. But because it was so goofy and slapstick and no cuss words or anything, I guess they felt like no big deal. But it has jealousy in it. It is glorifying jealousy. It's glorifying envy, two separate things. But it's glorifying assumptions and casting judgment on somebody. It's glorifying gossip, making it a joke. It's supporting not being authentic, meaning ask questions. Don't secret and, oh, has she lost weight? Oh, well, what is she doing? Oh, she's so skinny now. No, you do not. Like, there was some preacher on months ago. He made me so mad. I don't know who it is. I don't remember. I couldn't even begin to know. Nobody I watched regularly. And I don't know what his comment was, but it was something to the effect. I think he was talking about men or husbands and family. And I thought what he said was disgusting. It's like he's trying to degrade himself, lower his standard and his Christian standard to make the world feel comfortable, because he keeps people. I don't watch him regularly, so I don't know if he normally, but that one statement tells it all. It's like you want to keep the Christians babies because you're sympathizing with them. You're sympathizing with the hard stuff when you need to say, oh, it's hard. I know it's hard, but you got to do it. But instead, he'd be like something that was like, we got to do more of this, but I know it's hard. I don't like it either. I go home, I'm grumpy, and don't give your effing examples, okay? That's not how you shepherd somebody. You shepherd them by saying, God will get you through this, and you need some counseling, or you need this, or read your Bible, or pray, or do this. Don't stand there and sympathize and say, I know it's hard, but try. give it all you got, by golly, because we're just stupid old weak Christians on a baby bottle. I mean, I would have remembered what he said if it was like 2 days ago. But I don't know how he put it, but it was just so sad. So sad. I'm like, that guy, he is keeping his congregation on a baby bottle because he's so sympathizing with them. So now when they go home and something's hard, they're going to be like, yeah, well, big deal. He has it hard too. He knows it's hard. That is not the godly way to teach somebody just because you're having a hard time. It's not. You don't sympathize and try to fit in with the world and make the world like you, to make the world like Jesus. Either they like his way or they don't. Send them over to Satan, like the Bible says, so that Satan can burn them and then they'll come back. But no, let's keep them in a baby buggy so that they will never go away. If that pastor doesn't start doing it God's way, he's going to get in trouble. And he won't like it either. It'll be so devastating what God can do if he hands him over to Satan. It'll be devastating. It'll be so much harder than preaching the hard way. This is why you don't mess with God. He's an all-consuming fire, and you play with him, you will get burned. And you don't tell people, yeah, I know it's hard. Do the best you can. No. I'm no preacher, so, there's plenty of good ones out there that won't talk like that. You do not talk like that. Keeping your congregation on a baby bottle. So I think that, if God gave us something good, some more time, even if, like I keep saying, I'm sure this is all going to get straightened out in the midterms, before the midterms. We got a long way for that. And then if Trump is the last Trump, that means that 2 more years before the rapture, and there'll be good years, a good 2 years, because Trump cleans all this stuff up for us. And as this America repents, are they going to revert back because Trump made things so good? I wonder if that's going to be a test from God, which he already knows who are probably going to slack back off. And then, like a thief, the rapture happens, but they were enjoying those 2 good years left at the last Trump. God can totally do that. I can see God doing that. Yeah. And then when the and then the Antichrist is going to be the one that's going to really bring peace to the Middle East and sign a peace treaty. He's going to be like, yeah, all them Christian goody-goody guys got gone, and now it's just us, however many's left, and which is the majority, and everyone's going to love that guy. They're going to be glad to give them everything, give them all they got. I don't know if all the Gog and Magog will be getting rid of, like the Muslims, the terrorists, right? So, yeah, there's still, it's like God put us on our toes, and we were so flabby. We're not used to staying on our toes this long and fighting this long and this hard. And it's kind of like when Trump gets all this cleared off and God does it through him, we'll all be like, whew, are we going to go back to being not on our tiptoes? And that's when God comes like a thief. Jesus says it. He comes like a thief several times. Okay? There's no getting out of it. There's no way to rearrange that to where you're going to know. If you do know, like we know if we know a date or anything, you will know that in your spirit because God has told you. Meaning, like, I'm not saying, because that's never happened, because obviously we would have been gone if somebody had to know a date. But I'm talking about, like, your spirit feels that it's the end. And you stay ready, and you are always ready. But yeah, if you slack off and God gives this test to see who, because he does the weed and the tares, the wheat and the tares, he starts doing this to the field anyway. And I mean, anyway, I'm just saying, I know God's going to protect Trump, but we're supposed to pray for him. And I just, God bless him. He knows how to be friends with even some demons. Who knows how bad they are over there in the Middle East. And Saudi Arabia seems pretty cool. And the UAE. But there's Turkey, there's Qatar. Qatar has backstabbed us. So my neck is very crepey. So anyway, some women go through like age pockets. I think I'm going through an age pocket where it's like an age pocket and you like hit that pocket and you age like instantly overnight, like a few years ahead or something. But anyway, I'm old. It's about time. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to say Trump is in a nest of vipers. China, the Middle East, and within here, the America, who are also in bed with the bad guys in the Middle East. They're in bed with China, probably. They're in bed with Russia. They got their little tentacles spread out, and they are out for blood. I'm saying, even if there wasn't the rapture didn't happen, and Trump wasn't the last Trump, and we got another president, a good one, like, the good ones. These people, socialists and Islamists, are so evil right now. I can see them doing something drastic. Especially if after this Iran thing, Trump has to start probably prosecuting. Before he gets out of office, he's going to have to prosecute so many people because they're criminals, number one, and it's the right thing to do. But number two, they're going to come after him, and he did nothing wrong. But yet the law seems to always be on the side of the criminals, in case you haven't noticed lately. So if Trump doesn't prosecute those criminals before he gets out of office, they're going to go after him. They already have said it. They're going to go after Trump, his whole family. They're going to start going after the YouTubers, all the way down to the peons. They're going after everybody. Little old me, little old you, we might get slapped with some lawsuit and get our ass sued out from under us. I'm not worried about it because God got me here. I'm not going nowhere unless God says. So you guys are going to have some faith also, because if Trump doesn't get rid of these, if he doesn't prosecute these, and once he gets rid of Iran, that's going to suffocate a lot of the crime that's going on in America too. Maybe Europe, but they don't want saving. They don't want to be saved. And unless they're starting to come around, But just keep all these things in mind, okay? Just keep all of these things in mind, because if some prosecutions don't happen when Trump is done with Iran, and if they win presidency, they're going to go after all of us. So pretty much Vance has to win, or Rubio, and the American people need to wake up. The fringe won't. The commies and the socialists and the co-Marxists, they won't. And all these Antifa and Free Palestine haters, they won't. Soros won't. But if the majority of the Democrats are just being sheeple and they're secretly voting for the Republican like they did last time, then hopefully there'll be more of them, plus all this redrawing of the districting. I mean, but hey, what if there's some billionaire, quadruple trillionaire that finds a way to stuff ballots again one day, and there's nothing we can do? So basically it is ultimately up to God, because there's a lot of vipers out there that are out for blood. They're out for life. They're out for our life. You thought last time Trump, it was we were trying to get him in again back to back, and we were saying we're fighting for America's soul or something like that. It's truer now. Now it's truer, because we're seeing all the evil they were doing behind our back. And that Candace and that AOC and Ilhan Omar woman, they are the epitome of witches. They're just so, oh, I'm untouchable, you don't scare me, I am robbing you blind, and I am raping you in the ass sideways dry, and you can't do anything. That is their attitude. That is totally 1000% no remorse, no shame, no conscience. They're possessed, okay? Flat out, full blown. They'll laugh. They're almost as evil as Iran and the terrorists, but the terrorists, at least, no, they're the same. But with an immature terrorist, they're going to be saying, we win all the way when the noose is here, okay? And they're about to drop. People like Candace and Elon, whatever her name is, and AOC, they're the types that when they are caught and prosecuted, they're going to go in all hoity-toity, haughty, whatever, arrogant. But after 1 hour in jail, 2 hour in jail, 3 hour, they're going to start crying. They're not going to know what, they're master manipulators, and they're going to be the best humble people you have ever seen in your life. People like that are that arrogantly evil, blatantly to your face, once they finally get what's coming to them, they can do humble better than anybody around. Trust it from me. I know. I've seen it, because I've had jerks in my life, and then once something happens, they're so humble, and it makes you really feel sorry for them, and oh well, and nope, they're back at it again. They're just sorry they got caught. We know those types. So okay, well, I guess that's all. And yeah, just pray for Trump, pray for Reza, his new cabinet. He's gonna need a cabinet, and we need to pray for ourselves, your family, make sure you stay strong in the Lord. Don't slack when this Iranian thing is over and things in America start getting good and we start making some wins. I mean, I'm guilty of not thanking God more. Oh, God, thank you for that win. Thank you for that victory. Thank you for that victory. And thank you for that. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because He's really giving us a waterfall of victories. And I'm sure He'll give us more. But we need to stay thankful and stay humble. Not like... I mean, there's nothing wrong with... It's not entitlement, but like when things are good, it's not like you're saying, well, we deserve it. It's like you're living your life like you're supposed to be, because we're in a free country and this is what God gave us and we fought for this. Our ancestors fought for this. But we should be grateful for it and make sure it stays on the front of it. And remember the poor people, the fatherless, the orphan, the widow. Don't be selfish. Stop being selfish about, oh, I'm glad I'm happy. I'm glad my family is happy. I'm glad my marriage is good. I'm glad my life has no troubles. No, you can be thankful for that, yeah, but there's some Jews out there. There's some Iranians out there. There's some Americans out there that have loss. They have suffered loss from these terrorists, and they will never get their loved one back. They're dead. And we need to keep them in prayer for God's comfort. There's orphans now. There's widows now. Even before all that tragedy, the poor will always be with you. And we have to consider that there are children out there being trafficked. And don't live your life just so that you can have a good, sweet Christian life and a good family and all this health and healing for yourself. You have to remember the lowly. It might happen to you one day. Hopefully it won't, but I would certainly want God's mercy if it did. The mercy to handle it. And, okay, well, God bless you guys, and bye-bye.